Good morning, everyone. A little caught off guard because the intro didn't play. So hopefully the intro plays on the next one. But anyways, Jim Gonzalez here, EDI Support LLC. I hope everybody's doing well. It's a nice warm day, extremely warm day, and sunny in Pennsylvania here. So it's like 96 degrees or something like that going on today. A little warm. That's why we got to stay hydrated. Anyways, what I want to talk about is something that hits near and dear to home. And a lot of times as it does, because some people know this about me, some people don't know this about me. One of the biggest things I like to do is I love to help people and I love to educate people, especially people that are really the small companies, the companies that are just starting off, the people that are scrambling, working 60, 70 hours a week, just trying to put things together, get things moving, help their family, their friends, all of those things. That's what I really love talking about this piece, and you'll understand why as we get into this. As I've talked to a lot of different companies out there over my 28 years, there's things that we hear on a constant basis. So today's subject is month-to-month EDI. Why SMBs want flexibility? Well, let's think about that. Think about that from a business standpoint. Think about that from all of the aspects that surround SMBs, okay? The thing that I've learned from talking to hundreds of SMBs, and most are not resisting EDI as they are afraid of uncertainty. Uncertainty means, how long is that relationship going to last? How long are we going to have that trading partner? How much orders are we going to process? Could it all go away tomorrow? Did I lock in a contract with a provider or a supplier or a vendor or any of those types of things that's going to hurt me in the long run? Because now I have a payment that I need to make and I don't have the business to back it up. So flexibility is a big thing. Necessity, cash, all of those things. One of the running jokes that we have around my office is what matters most to an SMB: positive cash flow. You're making a profit, you're able to pay your bills, positive cash flow keeps everybody happy. So in the SMB world, and the mindset is they're afraid of making the wrong decision, signing the wrong contract, choosing the wrong provider, or getting stuck with something that doesn't fit their business. I understand these are the same concerns you all watching this video are having too. I wanted to address them today in our live session so that people knew you weren't alone. We've been helping businesses since 2017. I've been helping, that says EDI support. I've been helping businesses literally since 1998. I know that ages myself, but guess what? I've been doing this for a long time. And I've helped people of all sizes navigate the fears and the hesitations. I've provided them custom solutions. I've provided them homegrown, off-the-shelf solutions, all those different things over those 28 years. In the last 8 years, a lot of times it's been customizable. It's been figuring out, what does a client want? What do they need? How does it work into their workflow? That's why we put Elevate on the map. September, we're coming up on 1 full year of it being released to the public. And the reason we put it out there is because of flexibility, transparency in pricing, flexibility. If you want to customize it, you can. If you want to work through a standard flow, you can. You tell us what you want. How do you want it to fit into your business? And we can do that and get it to fit into your business. I have developers that are dedicated to that. Again, 28 years ago, that's all we did. You didn't have SPS's True Commerce. You didn't have those organizations giving you a homegrown, off-the-shelf, this is the way you're going to do it. Almost every single company out there bought a piece of software or a tool, they installed it on a computer, and then they figured out how it should work. using consultants, in-house people, whatever that looked like. So a lot of times it was customized. It was made to work for them. Well, we got away from that a lot, where people were having to make themselves fit into whatever EDI providers they worked with. Well, who's the customer here? Who should be dictating that relationship? Who should be defining how the workflow works? So think about that. I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there and explained why we came about with Elevate is really to be customizable, to be hand-holding of clients, to be their EDI department, to help out with things, to be reliable and responsible, and have fully transparent pricing. And pricing that is built for now, not built and signed up for 20, 30 years ago. We don't have investors' pockets we got to feed with a profit. We got to keep the doors open. We got to keep my people happy. I got to pay bills, those type of things. So, it's a little bit of a different mindset, So one of the first things, how do I know this will actually work? Most small businesses have never implemented EDI before. They're being asked to commit thousands of dollars, multi-year contracts, and they haven't even processed a single thing through it. Imagine that. Somebody walks in and says, hey, guess what? You're going to spend $2,000. You're going to sign a contract that's 3 years long, and good luck. And you have no clue what EDI, API, integrations, any of those things. That's why this creates anxiety. That's what SMBs should validate first. And if you can't yourself, find somebody that can help you, that can literally talk to you, give you your different options, explain the different things that are out there, and lead you along the way. You can look at ChatGPT, Claude, you can do Gronk, you can do all the different AIs that are out there looking for and searching, and will it give you a good general sense? Yeah, it will. It'll help to compose. But I can tell you from going down that route, it's not going to give you all the right answers. We're not there yet with AI. AI is not 100% correct. And anybody that tells you it is, they don't know enough about AI. So what if you choose the wrong provider? Well, that's the number one hesitation. SMBs tell us, and this is literally word for word, verbatim, different things we've heard throughout the meetings over the last couple months. We've never done EDI before. How do we know this is the right solution? What if onboarding takes forever? What if support is terrible? These are all fair questions. So that's why you go through with a trusted advisor or somebody that's done this before, and they help you. And they say, hey, listen, I've done this before. I know how these different companies operate. That's why I have a Discord server that's out there. Ask people. Hop on Reddit. There's an EDI channel that's just dedicated to helping people on Reddit. Look across. Do these things. Talk to people. Network. Ask other businesses what they're doing. How do you know if you have the right solution? Is it taking away the pain? Like if you already chose a solution, is it already taking away the pain? Or are you adding on more pain and more work and all of those things because you've chosen the wrong EDI provider? If onboarding takes forever, listen, we talk about this on a constant basis with clients. If you're doing non-integrated, again, you're going to listen to all the other companies that are out there. Oh, we can get you onboarded in 9 days, 3 hours, and 6 minutes. Okay. Doesn't everything works out perfectly? That's if people aren't on vacation. So all these criteria need to be met before those things can be dedicated. What I typically tell people is, listen, plan on 30 days. One trading partner, brand new integration, working through, making sure all your contracts are signed, making sure the people are assigned at the trading partner, making sure all of those things are done, 30 days. Because typically you're going to find that there's a missing contract. You're going to find that they're not ready for setting you up. You're going to find that all these things occur, and those people that are touting 2 days, 3 days, 9 days 6 days, whatever it may be. Listen, I got a company never doing EDI up and running with Walmart in 24 hours. Literally, I had to slam it through and I got it done 24 hours. Am I running around touting that? No, because it's not reality for 99% of the time. So watch what you hear. Watch what you have. Watch what people say. How do you know if support is terrible? Well, guess what? Go out and check out Google reviews. Ask them for a list of customers that you can talk to. And if they hand you a list, and that list is big companies, and you're talking to the vice president of logistics, most likely you're not talking to the person that's actually doing the processing day in and day out. You want to talk to EDI analyst that's sitting on the staff, maybe the manager of EDI. Maybe you want to talk to the CFO and you want to find out, hey, are there chargebacks? How's support when there's an issue? Do they get back to you? What's their SLAs? How fast does it look like? You want to talk to people that are going to tell you the truth, not people that are getting a gift card on the back end. I'm not going to lie. People give us reviews, I give them a gift card. You know why? Because they're doing something above and beyond anything that's been asked of them. But I also ask them to be truthful. We also have clients that step up and say, hey, if you ever need a referral or you ever need a recommendation, don't hesitate to reach out because it's been such a good experience. So ask these things, talk to the real people, do some investigations. And if you don't know how to do it, find somebody that does. You're asking fair questions because again, if they're asking you, and this is going to lead us into the next one, why am I signing a 3-year contract before I've sent a single transaction? Well, that's because that's what they want. They want you to sign a 2-year, 3-year, 5-year contract because the longer they have you locked in, the better that their sales team feels, and their investors want to see clients that are under contract for an extended period of time. It's known cash flow. When you're dealing with companies like ours or mine, I can tell you, I'm looking for you. I'm looking to help you. And if we're a good fit, that's what matters. I'm not going to ask you for a 3 or 5 year contract because, as I tell people, and this sounds old school, we're going to court. Let's go back to Victorian days where there was courting. We're going to court, then we're going to dance, then we're going to date. And it sounds funny to say that. And again, hopefully I don't offend anybody by saying that. You just never know anymore. But what that means is it's basically saying the exact same thing as crawl, walk, run. I'm not going to ask you to sign a contract. And the reason I don't is because the simple fact is I want to earn your business. I want to understand your business. I want to make sure we're doing right by you. And I want to make sure that you're treating my staff okay too. I'm going to share that a little insight for you because we have a rule. If you're mean to my staff, I'm going to get rid of you. You're not going to be a client of ours. So you have to understand where people lead from is what I'm getting at, and that one comes up the most where people are like, why am I signing this multi-year contract and I don't understand? So you think about it. You haven't gone live. You haven't tested support. You haven't onboarded retailers. You haven't processed an order. Yet you're being asked to commit for years. That's like going into that one show where you get married and you literally meet the person when you're saying I do. Think about that. How many of you are going to do that? Well, in the EDI world, a lot of people are doing that. So you do have a legitimate concern. What if our business changes? Well, every SMB business changes. Whether it succeeds, it fails, it becomes flat, it plateaus, whatever it looks like, and it's dips and valleys and everything else in the SMB world, okay? That's why they typically say most SMBs only last, if they last past 3 years, they're doing well. If they last past 5 years, they're most likely going to last because they have fundamentals built into them or hard learned lessons. Every SMB evolves. I tell people that, hey, you may be an SMB today, you may just have signed a contract with one retailer, and if you do good and you do well, and this goes with drug manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, insurance, healthcare, all of those things, as long as those things go well, guess what? In 6 months, your business could have doubled. I've seen them do a lot more than that in 6 months to a year. So why are you signing that multi-year contract? What happens if your business changes? What happens if you add multiple trading partners? You add and change your ERP. You acquire another company because you're growing so fast. You're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to buy that supplier because it's going to save us a lot of money. Your order volume changes. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Are they going to be nimble and flexible with you? Can you go easily from non-integrated to integrated? What does that look like? Remember, I said 30 days for a trading partner on a non-integrated. If we're going first time, one trading partner, one integration, because again, Elevate in our side is customizable, I'm going to tell you 60 days. During that 60 days, as long as it's an ERP that we've already worked with, we're going to get that set up. We're going to get that integrated. We're going to then work through user-defined fields, your workflow, making sure everything is working the way you want. And then there's hypercare afterwards. Okay. If it's an ERP that we've never worked with, now I'm going to bump it to 90 days just because I want to, again, make sure we're covering everything you got to do. We're making sure that that workflow is really working for you. And processing data and doing all those things that makes your company realize EDI is valuable. Integration is valuable. So think about those things, especially when most owners, they don't know what their business is going to look like in a year from now. I've been doing this, heck, it's 2026. We've been in business since 2017. I'm coming up on 9 years in September. As crazy as that sounds, it's been a quick 9 years. It's been a daunting 9 years, but I can tell you my business is different. 6 months, every 6 months, the business looks a little bit different. It's not as different as it was in the beginning. It still changes every 6 months to a year. There's more clients. Maybe there's more staff. It's different. It's a different feel, especially with Elevate, because we have more features, more functions, more workflows, all of those things, because it's constantly being enhanced, which is the beauty of it. So it's less about EDI. It's about uncertainty. They're trying to understand whether they're solving today's problems or tomorrow's problems. What does that look like? What if we outgrow it? Hey, we outgrew our EDI because our EDI only can handle 1 to 5 trading partners, and we got 10. Understand that those things can happen quickly. And it's common with SMBs. They've been burned before by software, by ERP systems, by integrations, by bad consultants, by all kinds of things in an SMB world. They're worried about making another expensive mistake. Are you going to make a mistake in the SMB world? Yes, all day long. I make mistakes. I tell people and I kid around and I say I make mistakes every day, every week, every month. But I own it because I'm the CEO and I'm the owner of EDI Support LLC. Because it all starts with me and it all ends with me. If you shoulder those things as a small business owner, guess what? It's where we're going to start evaluating those things. Start evaluating, not just in EDI, you're also got to evaluate your chargebacks. You got to evaluate all the things that go around with your workflow and your order processing. What happens if support doesn't meet expectations? Well, that's a problem. People don't realize support means a lot in the EDI world. You need to be on pace. You need to make sure that it's a quick response. Major issues are resolved immediately. Minor issues are still have a high intensity. I always tell people this, and I'll give you a little bit more insight into our company, and maybe people will relate. So we have essentially 4 to 5 categories, however you want to dictate it, however you want to look at it when it comes to things. So we have our first level of support or dealing with our developers is this, especially with the Elevate product. If a client is already live on Elevate and has an issue that is stopping them or impeding them from processing an order, an invoice, an ASN, any of those type of things, that is hair on fire, highest, immediate, let's get it resolved. That's number 1. Number 2 is client needs a modification that's going to help them in their order process, help them in speed of getting those orders handled and all of those things. That's number 3 leads us to a customer's request for enhancement. And that's something that, hey, this would be nice if it did this. That's number 3. Take notice, customer is now just taking care of the top 3 priorities when we're dealing between our support department and our development department. Number 4 is any of our internal requests. Number 5 is for future, we would like this eventually. Future requests, that's number 5. Again, the customer is now taking over 3 spots. What's down? What needs to be resolved to help out with speed and efficiency? Number 3, hey, this would be great. I would like you to do this. It doesn't have to be today, tomorrow, but maybe in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Could you put that in there? That'd be great. Find out what companies do. Find out what that looks like. Standard support is typically 2 hours or less in my organization, with a resolution in less than 24 hours for most issues. Non-urgent issues, we can typically resolve the same day anyways. But I always tell people, listen, 24 to 48 hours. That just gives us enough time. And again, there's going to be a human that's responding to you. So think about that. What happens when an ASN fails? A retailer rejects a document, orders stop flowing. Who sees that? I can tell you in my world, we see it and you see it. Everybody's getting notified. And we're reaching out and say, hey, did you see this? You got that resolved? You taking care of that? Okay, just wanted to check. Just making sure. We're letting you know. So think about that. Will anyone actually help us? What if you had a company that was literally not only giving you a product and a platform, but a company that was reaching out and saying, you got this? You need some help? Let me help you. How would that make you feel as an SMB? So you end up sitting there and you go, what if EDI ends up creating more work? Well, that's a huge one. We looked at that in the last 2 sessions, multiple team members spending hours and hours a week on one order. We bought EDI and now it's still using spreadsheets. We bought EDI and it's still entering data manually. We automated the documents, but not the process. What are we doing wrong? These are all very valid concerns. So you have to sit back, you have to look at it, you have to evaluate it, and you have to think, what does it look like? How are they helping you? And you're going from there. I'm hoping that some of these things resonate, some of these things sink in to help you along your pathway, to give you an understanding that there's others that are out there. You're not alone. So you have to look at that. The biggest thing is, again, making a case for SMB flexibility. So if you can relate to any of these concerns I just described, why small business need flexibility, with changing processes, changing customers, changing technology, flexibility reduces risk while your business evolves. That is why pay as you go or a month-to-month EDI fits perfectly with your business architect. Committing long-term to anything doesn't work in practicality, whatever, however you say it, because you don't know enough to commit. Flexibility also means adding retailers easily, changing workflows, changing systems, scaling your volumes, adapting to business changes. Can your EDI software help you with all the above? Or are you with the wrong company? Because again, some of these things are resonating, and some of these things you're like, yep, Jim's speaking the truth. Jim's speaking about things that are going on. You know, there's questions you should be asking when shopping around. What exactly am I committing to? Don't sign contracts without understanding minimum commitments, volume commitments, termination clauses, auto renewals, onboarding fees, trading partner fees. If there's a possibility of pay as you go month to month, it's a green flag, not a red flag. You know, there's organizations that are out there that are like, oh, well, you should be signing a 3-year contract. Anybody that says that they don't need a contract, I would be very leery of them. No, anybody that's saying to you, I need a 3-year or 5-year contract, I would be very leery of them. Anybody that's saying, hey, I went to my manager and I got you a 30% discount. What do you think? Will you sign today? That's because everybody gets a 30% discount. All right. So how does that feel? You know, contract questions. What's the term? Is there an auto? Is there an auto renewal? What happens if we're not live in the time frame that you've told us? Are there minimums? What are the termination terms? What happens to our maps and configurations? Do we get to keep those? Are those ours? How do I move those over to us because we paid for them? Are you going to help us migrate to another provider? What fees change over time? You know, again, I'm simply trying to give you questions and things as though you called in and we talked. It's typically best to have a conversation with somebody so you can go from hey, this is exactly the lay of the land and figuring it out. You know, who owns my onboarding? Is there a dedicated project manager? Do we have a shared inbox? Is there a ticket queue? Do I use bots? Is AI doing all of the onboarding? And I don't ever get to talk to a real person other than when I send you money? Think about that. Everybody that's out there in the EDI world, if you're touting AI, good luck. We're not there yet. Can AI help with certain aspects? All day long. But to say that's the end all be all right now, this second, nope. Sorry. I will talk to anybody about that says AI can handle everything in the EDI aspect. EDI support, EDI implementations, integrations, all of those things. Again, AI can handle yes, no. It is not good at a maybe. So what happens when something breaks? What happens if onboarding doesn't go as planned? Ask them. If I'm still not live after 3 months, am I still paying? Do I get a refund? Do I get a discount? Because now you're spending my time. Who do I call? What are the email addresses? Is there a dedicated team that knows me and my company? How fast do they respond? What does support actually look like? What is the SLAs? Support level agreements. What are you locked in for? Am I paying extra for support? Oh, I get the product and the platform, but I got to pay extra for support? Okay. Think about those things. Understand those things. How easy is it to add retailers? Today's retailer won't be your last. Can the platform grow with you? Think about that. Can it go from one ERP to another? Can it add in a WMS? Could it add in a TMS? Does it have TMS capabilities? All of those things. What work is still manual? If the answer is spreadsheets, CSV, imports, duplicate entry, understand that before you're signing. Understand that, hey, listen, it may start off with a CSV import, but how do we get away from that? Let's work together to figure out how we get away from that. Let's get your subject matter expert in your workflow or your subject matter expert in your actual ERP or WMS or TMS, and let's figure this out together. Let's understand what that looks like. The last question is always, how easy is it to leave? Am I locked in? Nobody asks this question, but you should. A provider should earn your business every month. They should not just sign you up and forget about you. Let me know what you think about these concerns and comments below. Which one of the concerns we discussed today are more relatable or realistic for you? We have a detailed blog published in the description which talks about questions you should be asking in detail and how to choose the right EDI partner for your business. I'm hoping you're enjoying these videos. I'm hoping that, these are hitting and resonating and all of those things. If there's ever something that you want, just reach out. I can always do a segment. I can do a 2-minute, 30-second video. I can do all of those things, or we can have an individual conversation. It's free of charge. I don't charge for conversations. So anyways, I'm not a therapist, but I don't charge for EDI, API, and integration conversations. Let me say that. So anyways, Jim Gonzalez here, EDI support. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday. I hope you're, like me, loving the World Cup and enjoying everything that you're seeing here. The Golden Boot is going crazy. So like our stuff, comment, follow us on Discord, follow us on Reddit, follow us anywhere and everywhere, YouTube, LinkedIn, you name it. We try to be everywhere and anywhere to help people. But I hope you have a great rest of your week. I hope you stay cool, especially if you're in the heat wave that we are. And I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
Meet Elevate, the modern cloud-based EDI platform designed for growing businesses that may or may not have EDI experience and deserve better. No installs, no servers, just secure real-time EDI that works for you anywhere. Get EDI compliant with 200 plus retailers like Walmart, Target, Chewy.com, Amazon, and more without the hassle of endless back and forth. Elevate automates every document, from purchase orders to shipment notices to invoices, so you can focus on fulfillment, not formatting. We set up your trading partners, map your data, and test every connection end to end. Once approved by your trading partner, you go live quickly and confidently. Have an ERP? You can now easily connect Elevate with your ERP via APIs, CSV, or XML, or use any flat files. All systems will now talk to each other. And when you need help, you get real humans, not bots. We're your EDI team, start to finish. Transparent pricing, no contracts. EDI that actually works for you. Elevate your business today with EDI that cares.